Hi.
Hello, everybody. Ray is going through the test of what he terms the very stringent standards that Watchtower sets up in print for everybody else to comply with. And how well the Watchtower itself does in applying these very stringent standards when it comes to individual application across the globe. As one example, the branch committee in Colombia, in preparation for an annual zone visit of a headquarters representative, made up a list of questions to which they sought answers. Some involved their concern about certain accounting policies that the organization had established and which they were following. Thus, the sixth question on the list dealt with the branch's reporting of certain income to the government as donations, while showing it on their books for the society as investment returns. They felt disturbed about this, and this photocopy of their material shows how they explained their feelings.
So number 6 question was, according to the Colombian law, for non-profit corporations, we are prohibited from making loans on which interest is charged. Doing so would classify us as a commercial firm and liable to pay corporate taxes at the rate for limited partnerships. At the moment, we classify the income from whole loan repayments, which include interest, as donations for purposes of reporting to the government on our tax return. However, on the Society's books, this income is classed as investment returns. And on the individual loan ledgers, the payments on principal and interest are clearly identified. Could we have your comments on the moral aspects of this procedure?
Their seventh question dealt with a similar juggling of information regarding foreign missionaries that had been introduced into the countries. Point 7, question 7. We have work contracts with our missionaries and certify them as employees to the government ministry that deals with foreigners. We must do this in order to get them into the country. However, on our tax returns, we show that we have no employees. This is to avoid paying employer contributions to Social Security, etc., and to avoid problems with intricate fringe benefits required by law. Everybody does it, but how do we stand morally?
In both cases, it may be noted that the reason for their irregular method of reporting to the government was the evasion of certain taxes or other expenses. While the principle that Christians obey all laws except those in violation of God's law is a true one, that principle could not justify failure to comply with these Colombian tax laws. Again, it should be noted that these accounting methods did not originate in the Colombian branch office. On the basis of personal knowledge, both from having served as branch overseer in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, as well as having made official visits as a governing body member to branch offices in many countries, I know that no branch establishes its own accounting policies. They are all determined by the central headquarters organization. The branch in Colombia was simply conforming to Watchtower Society practices employed in other countries as well. They did not feel that they could deviate from such practices without first obtaining permission, as their questions show. But as indicated by their expressions, the men at the branch felt conscientiously disturbed as to the morality of the practices, doubtless because of contrasting them with the published statements in the organization's Watchtower magazine. To my knowledge, the practices set out were not changed.
The second item from Colombia, shown above, touches on another inconsistency. As is well known, many people from Mexico cross into the United States as illegal aliens, seeking work and improved living conditions. Social Security cards are obtained based generally on false information. Some of these persons thereafter have lived in the country for decades, lived responsible lives, raised families, bought or built homes, even developed businesses. Some of these later become witnesses, at times many years later. The organization's policy has permitted those wishing to be baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses to do so, but males among them were not permitted to serve in any responsible way, either in the conducting of meetings or as ministerial servants or elders. The view taken was that they are living a lie. They misrepresented themselves as if legally in the country and carried documents that were not genuine. To qualify for any responsibility, they must go to the authorities and seek to legalize their situation. Otherwise, the only other way to qualify would be to return to Mexico, which normally meant giving up their jobs or business, selling or otherwise disposing of their homes and property if they owned such.
And there's a footnote here. At the very same time this policy was in effect, as is documented in Crisis of Conscience, witness men in Mexico were carrying documents stating that they had fulfilled a military service that they had not fulfilled, documents obtained through a bribe, and many of them were knowingly approved by the organization as elders, circuit overseers, even as branch office representatives. The charge of living a lie was never leveled at them.
It's pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah.
The society would know about all of this, and of course, as he points out here, there's an inconsistency even about policy in Mexico, as this living a lie thought, but also we know, because we lived in the 70s, what a tragedy the Malawi situation was, and how we were all called on as Jehovah's Witnesses in the 1970s to do what we could, i.e. writing letters to Malawi. And that caused a degree of pride in us, really, that our brothers over there were being so faithful in this area, and we could support them.
Yeah.
And that it was certainly solidarity for us in that sense.
They were endangering their lives by not getting a little political card, right?
But then,
and at the same time, this is happening with sanction from the Watchtower, that bribes could be used to get materials to say that you've done something you hadn't done.
at the very same time,
At the very
as
same time.
people were dying in Malawi and
Yeah.
sisters were being raped.
Yeah, so
for their adherence to the principle.
How do you come to these two perspectives, the same organization?
But again, the hypocrisy was only known to the people at the very top. The governing body knew about the policies, and we didn't know. None of us saw the
No.
double-mindedness of all of this, or the hypocrisy of it. Now, in the next segment, Ray deals again in more detail with the shading of principle when it comes to even missionary policies. Next time.